Good morning. Welcome to Business Life Weekend. So today we are going to look at very important aspects whichever took the headlines and the stock specific movements which remained as big gainers and losers in the entire week, especially if we are talking about the Monday to Friday movement, and also the movement what happened in the Dow Jones last night. Dow Jones have reacted negatively to the Europe numbers and they fell by about 460 points, and of course along with that the Nasdaq also followed suit by losing about 196 points, and this was the movement mainly affected also the European indexes, which also closed in about losses starting from about 1% to 2.5% closings in the European market, especially if we look at FTSE exchange, which lost about 148 points, and CAC, the French index, also lost about 109 points, and the DAX, the German index, also lost about 186 points. So yes, the reaction would be seen on Monday morning once the Asian markets starts trading, and before that we also have very important developments coming into the Indian markets, especially there was correction which started, actually the initiation began on the 20th of March on the Wednesday before the markets were, one day before the markets were closed. So the actually it gave the indication of the kind of profit booking. Markets entered into kind of a fatigue levels, wherein very importantly the markets index based stocks had a lot of profit booking. So that was the kind of, again the correction got aggravated on Friday. So let's also look into those aspects, individual stocks especially. But before that, let me take a picture from our guest. I have Mr. Ajay, the investor in the market and the trader, and at the same time I also have Mr. Chirag, who is also an analyst. So let's start with Mr. Ajay ji. So what do you feel, the markets are going to go for a deeper correction, or is it a healthy correction to buy more?
So whoever could call the markets so accurately. In fact, yesterday when we spoke, I did say that without even thinking, first thing you do is take 30% money off the table. That has worked out. For those who have not taken money off the table, even if the market were to go down and you're sitting on profits, take 30-40% money off the table. We are not going in for a very steep correction because US and Europe fears a recession. China is predicted to grow at 2%. The only large economy in the world which is slated to grow anywhere between 6.5% to 7% is India. So if you are buying the stocks which are going to outperform the country's growth, you have a very easy chance of making a CAGR of 15%. So every dip should be used to accumulate good, solid stocks.
All right. So Chirag, coming to you, what's your take on the markets which corrected the whole week, and what can be expected, because we are entering into the expiry week next, so that's starting from Monday, and let's also take the situation what happened in the whole week.
Well, first things first, this is only the first instance of a corrective down move we have seen. If you look at the overall chart structure of Nifty, ever since we broke out about the 11,120 mark, where it was facing a very stiff resistance, the index has not looked back, and we have not seen any bit of a sizable correction which has come through in the market. And yesterday's move is a clear indication that we are likely to head lower. However, a buying on dips strategy must be adopted in such bullish times. Any decline towards downside levels of 11,200, 11,300 must be used as very good buying opportunities. And meanwhile, traders who are holding on to good quality stocks and who made a lot of money in the recent past can take profits off the table, and this is what we've been recommending throughout the week. Now, the sharp fall that came in yesterday was on the back of a couple of happenings or a couple of news. The first one being that there is a rating agency which has given a downgrade to Indian GDP growth, and it expects it to grow at somewhere around 6.8 rather than 7%. So that's a marginal negative. Apart from that, the manufacturing data coming in from Germany was quite a bit of a surprise on the negative side for the entire globe, and this has clearly given an indication that a slowdown may be right over the horizon right now. And apart from this, the flattening of the the GSEC yields back in the US in comparison. If you're comparing the 3-month GSEC yield with the 10-year GSEC yield, and if both of the the rates are very very nearby, or they have a very marginal difference, then then it is considered that something dangerous is likely on cards over the next few months. So just be cautious. But as Ajay sir just mentioned clearly, that India is the only largest economy in the world which is looking at 6 to 7% of growth. So a lot of money will be flowing to India over the next few months. So it's going to be a roller coaster ride. So be ready for it.
All right. So looking at the markets, they reacted kind of on a negative side. The kind of selling actually started from India yesterday, if we look at, then followed by the European markets, then also even the US markets followed, as we can say that, because they have closed much deeper red yesterday. So there are stocks which have been kind of followed by Mr. Ajay ji. What happened was all those stocks, most of them, they reached to 52-week highs. Some remained kind of resilient, not agreeing to correct in the market. So would that mean if we get this opportunity somewhere around 11,300 and 11,350 in Nifty futures, can any stock be bought, or any fresh names do you have in mind?
Yes, sir. As you know, I always like to understand what the market is telling us. So yesterday, the FIIs took a lot of money off the index. In fact, they were, I think, for the first time negative on index sales. They were again, as usual, about 1,500 crore plus on in the cash market, while the DIIs sold. Now the market is telling us that Reliance has fallen off the cliff. It's off the race. TCS is off the race. But there are stocks like Titan, Jubilant Food and ITC, rock solid. They must be bought on every correction. This is the time this correction should be used to buy such stocks. That is what the market is telling us. In the IT sector, in the large cap, there is one king now. Unexpectedly, it is Infi. Very, very strong, giving absolutely no signal of correcting. Should the rupee weaken for whatever reason, Infi is going to be off the blocks first. I have a target of 780 for this stock. This must be bought. Chirag can correct me if I'm wrong. This must be bought on every correction. The realty sector is going haywire. There's something happening there. Godrej Properties, I think I had spoken about it long ago. It has gone up 15%. It has broken out of a range. I think this is a stock that should be bought on every correction. Suntech Realty is an FII favorite. Oberoi Realty is doing extremely well. Sobha I recommended it recently. These are the stocks to be bought. PSU banks have bottomed out. SBI, Bank of India. I think there's hardly any downside. You can use this correction to buy good, I will not say good, for a trading bounce. You can use these corrections to buy those stocks. The banks are the strongest. I think Yes Bank, Karnataka Bank, these are the stocks which are the strongest in the banking sector. Good for a rally now. Axis Bank, Kotak Bank, all these can be bought on a dip.
All right, Chirag, next week is expiry, and what could be the stocks if you have any identified by you, like for the investors for a short term, medium term, or maybe long term kind of a buying, which can be preferred, or even a short, like you have also recommended Maruti last week. So there were kind of good corrections seen in Maruti, so our viewers must have been benefited by that. So do you have any stocks for this week, the last week of March, any short or long from your side?
Well, yes, I have a couple of stocks on the short and on the long side as well. The short one being an obvious choice, that is Maruti. We are still bearish on this counter. Downside levels can be seen somewhere around, say, 6100, 6150, and it is currently trading around 6500. So a good 4 to 4.5% downside, or say 5% downside, can be seen from current levels in this stock. And we are you can go short with the stop loss placed above 6,650. That's a 100-point stop loss for downside targets of 300 points on this counter. The other one being Infosys. Infosys is looking very good on charts. It is looking well set for 780. I will go with Ajay sir's view on this. Go with a stop loss of around 720 in this counter for upside targets of 780, 785 over the next 7 to 9 trading sessions.
Okay, so happening, looking into the small cap and mid cap stocks. In the past 2 months, there were a couple of stocks which has risen by about 30% to 99%. So what are we, kind of looking at these stocks? Are they going to be a promising gainers? For example, if we are talking about Suzlon Energy, which went up by 98% and odd. So what's going on happening in such stocks? Is it only a trading bet, or will there be any fundamentals change, or the stock getting re-rated? Chirag.
Well, as far as Suzlon is concerned, we do not recommend this stock at any level. We've been bearish on this counter ever since, and it has been making lower top, lower bottom formation on monthly charts. Now, if something is making a lower top, lower bottom on monthly charts, it is definitely not a stock to be had in your portfolio, whether it is a trading portfolio or whether it is an investment portfolio. Of course, there has been a lot of positive news flow, the so-called positive news flow that has been coming into Suzlon. That over the years that Dilip Sanghvi, the owner of Sun Pharma, has bought a lot of stake in this and all that. Okay, that's fine. That could be some of his interest, on the other side, or if he wants to park some money in some other company. But that doesn't mean that investors go long in this counter just because a big investor has invested in this company. We do not recommend Suzlon even at current levels. Hence, traders can avoid this stock, and even investors should avoid this stock. Now, such kind of rallies of around 80-85% or say 90% of rallies are not seen every day or every now and then. So such opportunities must be used as exit opportunities as far as people who are holding those stock from longer term, for a longer period of time, and who are not being able to exit can use such rallies to exit.
Okay. Mr. Ajay, you have spoken about the realty, and you have also spoken about the IT stocks. So I have two stocks, which were, making a lot of movements in the realty sector. One is Brigade Enterprises, and the other one, being the Info Edge in the IT. So do you, second these stocks, or would you like to take a look at some other stocks from the realty and IT apart from Infosys?
Info Edge is Naukri.
Yes.
So that's a fantastic share. FIIs have a huge holding in Info Edge. They refuse to let go. They believe that because the Indian economy is slated to grow for so many years, irrespective of whichever government comes, employment will always be a very good avenue, and Naukri is far ahead of competition. So this is a wonderful stock to buy. I don't track the levels, so I cannot, maybe you can ask Chirag, but I don't track the levels. The other one, Brigade, is, yes, I think in the reality sector, there are plenty of stocks to buy. The strongest is Godrej Properties. If you're taking a punt, it's India Bulls Real Estate, which has really been battered, but I would prefer to go with Oberoi Realty, Suntech at lower levels, Godrej Properties, Soba, etc.
Okay. So Chirag, would you like to second on these stocks, Brigade or Info Edge? Any one or both?
I'll go for both. Info Edge, of course, as Ajay sir has already given the fundamental rationale behind it. I will just help you out with the levels on the upside and also on the downside. So 1800 is the stop on the downside. You can go long at current levels. The stock is making cycles of higher top, higher bottom formations on daily and weekly and monthly charts as well, clearly indicating that a positive momentum is intact in this counter. And we are expecting upside targets of say 2250 over the next 3 to 4 months in this counter. So go long. Stop loss will be below 1800. Now, as far as the reality stocks are concerned, most of the stocks that have been mentioned by Ajay sir are Bombay-based reality stocks, and whenever you are buying a reality stock, it is always advisable that you buy a company which is having presence or prominent presence in major metro cities like Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi. So this investment in good quality, and apart from this, you will also have to look at the quality of the promoters. Now, Godrej Property, it comes with the quality tag of Godrej. Oberoi Realty, it comes with the quality tag of the Oberois. Now, these are big names as far as Bombay Realty companies are concerned. So You can these are also safe trading bets. Now coming to Bangalore based realty, you can look at Prestige, you can look at Sobha. Now these are other counters apart from the Mumbai based counters that you can look at for investment and also for trading. Now these are safer bets is what I mentioned.
Okay. So, Mr. Ajay, what is the kind of sector you're looking at, going into the expiry, the sectors which you have been already, investing and, following them. So, are we looking any kind of a change around of these sectors or maybe the change of stocks? Because there are a lot of stocks like, UPL, Axis Bank, Titan and NIT Technologies, and many stocks, have run up a lot, including Bata have already been, touching the 52-week highs. But are there any new stocks can we look into, or is this a good opportunity to buy these 52-week already stocks which are holding in the 52-week prices in this correction to buy? So, what's your take on, either the same stocks to be bought or to go for some new stocks in the coming weeks?
I have not discussed about financials in the FII pack. We've spoken about so many stocks in which FIIs have a big holding. So, I've spoken about DCB Bank and Karnataka Bank. These are stocks which are fundamentally good, technically very strong, and they have a FII holding. So, these are very safe stocks to buy. There's another stock in which the FIIs have been relentlessly pumping in money. It's been going up for 3 days now. It's a microfinance company called Satin Care Credit. Apart from Ujjivan, Equitas, M&M Finance and Bharat Financial, this one is an FII favorite. I'd request Chirag to give us some levels on Satin Care Credit. And pharma is actually going nowhere, so I think I'll keep off that sector. The IT shares, despite the fact that the rupee is strong, they are not falling off the cliff. NIT Tech corrects 4 rupees, 10 rupees, that's it. Sonata Software is absolutely ripe for a rise once the rupee thing plays out. So, IT sector is even you have Zensar, plenty of shares in the IT sector which refuse to go down now. So, I would be looking for the rupee thing to play out and then latch on to these kind of stocks like Just Dial, which has got an FII holding, NIT Tech, Sonata, these kind of shares. They are good shares, very low downside and a good upside.
Okay, Chirag, so would you like to second those stocks, the Satin Care?
Yes, Satin Credit Care. I mean, I have not heard of this stock fundamentally, or I have not checked it fundamentally, but technically it looks beautiful, and it is just moved out of a pole and pennant chart pattern on daily charts, and it is on weekly charts, and it is currently trading around 370, 372 odd rupees. So I would recommend you to just wait for the stock to cool down a bit, let it come towards somewhere around 350, 360, and then go along in the counter with the stop loss placed below 320 for upside targets of 420 to 440 over the next 7 to 8 months. Now the other stocks I don't remember the names. If you can just call it out. Sonata Software.
Okay, because we are also going into the expiry. So after this Sonata stock, Chirag, could you also let us know about the Bank Nifty and Nifty futures also?
Sure. So as far as Sonata Software is concerned, see, it is trading in a very tight range. The tight range is somewhere in the range of say 320 on the downside to 340 on the upside. 345 to 350 to be precise. So it is a good 10% range in which the stock is consolidating, and it is trying to move higher, but it has not been successful in doing so. Now every time the stock is coming towards 320, it is witnessing buying interest. So this clearly indicates that you can go along in the counter. At current levels it is around 332. So buy around 330, stop loss will be below 320, upside targets can be 360 in the short to medium term. Now coming to Nifty and Bank Nifty, as far as the Nifty view for the week is concerned, we are bullish. The immediate support for the Nifty index can be seen somewhere around 11,300 on the downside. That is a very strong support, and it is witnessed a lot of put writing in that area. So somewhere around 11,300 on the downside to 11,350 will be a very strong support on the downside. Upside resistances can be seen somewhere around 11,550, 11,600, crossing which the lifetime high of somewhere around 11,700 or above it can be taken out, and if that happens, then we are headed into the uncharted territory like the bank nifty has been doing. Now coming to bank nifty, very strong support exists somewhere around 29,400, 29,300, below which 29,000 psychological level will be a very crucial level to watch out for. Now the bank nifty has closed somewhere around 29,500, so 500-point decline cannot be ruled out even in a single day, given the overall global sentiment, which is just a little shaky for the time being. Whereas on the upside, resistances for the banking index are pegged around 29,750, 29,850, crossing which the psychological 30,000 mark will be a very major hurdle. If that is crossed, then of course we are headed much higher.
Mr. Ajay, we have seen the PSU banks back, especially the SBI. This time, looked very firmly, trying to go up and cross and stay, remain above 300 levels. But what happened is, again on this Friday, due to the correction getting, aggressive, the SBI lost grip, to stay above 300. So, do you look any opportunity in the coming days or weeks, or would there be, better to avoid this sector, PSU banks?
No. PSU bank should be bought. I'll give you an example. Jubilant Food went up 30 rupees. It didn't correct at all. Reliance fell 3%. TCS ended in the negative. Infi ended in the green. State Bank went down marginally, 2 rupees. It didn't lose 10 rupees or 8 rupees. These are small corrections. Definitely State Bank, PNB because of the Nirav Modi news, Bank of India, these can be bought if the market reacts.
All right. So, Chirag, coming to you now, very importantly, we would love to know the techno funda of the week, maybe the past week, what happened, and the coming week. So, do guide our viewers as on today.
Well, yes, last week most of our recommendations were, they seem to have achieved their targets, and mostly even on the short side, surprisingly, in a market which was rising higher. So there are a lot of stocks that we had spoken about in the last week. Apart from this, the Techno Funda pick for this week is BEML. Now, BEML I have been talking about for a long time. I mean, ever since the show has begun, and it is looking very good on charts. Now, I'll just come up with a fundamental rationale behind it, and also give you just a brief information about what the company is all about. BEML was established in May 1964. It is a Bangalore-based company. It is a Mini Ratna Category 1, and the company plays a pivotal role, and it serves India's core sectors like defense, rail, power, mining, and infrastructure. Now, recently, during the Bangalore Aero Show, it has also signed a deal with Lockheed Martin, a US-based company which manufactures lot of aeroplanes or fighter jets. Now, it is a certificate of partnership that it has been signed under the Ministry of Defense, and this is a major positive for the stock. And the stock has also rallied in the recent past on the back of this news. Earlier, it has also designed and developed various ground handling and ground support equipment for the prestigious LCA, that is the Tejas project. Now, this is another positive thing. It has done a lot of work in the past, hence the credentials of the company have been liked by Lockheed Martin, and they have gone ahead with the deal. Now, in the quarter gone by, it has also received an order of rupees 30 billion for the Mumbai Metro coaches, and recently it has bagged an order for the Bangalore Metro worth 400 crores. Now, these are order inflows to the company, which is a clear positive in itself. Once the money is realized, then the company is likely to move substantially higher. Now, technically, the stock has made a bullish head and shoulder pattern on weekly and monthly charts. Now, this clearly indicates that the upside, targets for this stock come around 1250 to 1300 over the next 7 to 9 months. Now, 7 to 9 months could be a long time for the stock. It can come within 2 to 3 weeks as well. Substantial buying activity has been seen in the recent past around 500 to 520, 600 to 520 odd zone. And this is a clear indication that strong hands have accumulated the stock for potential upside of the target that I have already mentioned. Now, always in the run up to the elections, such kind of stocks witness a lot of buying activity. These are government based companies, and BEML, BEL, these are stocks which witness a lot of buying. The simple reason for this is that the incumbent government or the government which is likely to come in usually likes to spend a lot on the defense play, and whenever a government is spending on the defense play, these are the two companies that come into the foreground. So you should definitely go long in BEML. The sales have been pretty good over the last quarter to quarter. If you look at the growth quarter to quarter versus the previous year, it is also very good. Most of the fundamental parameters are very much in the favor of the bulls. Hence, you will see that the stock is likely to move higher. You may also see a little bit of correction over the next 2 to 3 trading sessions owing to the overall market negativity, and that should be used as a buying opportunity for the stock.
All right. So viewers, this is the take for the whole week for Business Life weekend show. So we'll see you again on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Thank you very much for watching the show.